comic book shit.
What were you on? Facebook?
I was on Facebook.
Oh, was it a friend that spoiled it, or was it in a group?
No, it was just a Spider-Man page. Screenshot. Is the worst part of desk setups.
Well, it's not even the wire management, it's
It's a lot of monitors.
He's not here, so.
Well, yeah, he said he's having a call tonight to set up time for next weekend so they can talk. He says he didn't want to be
right.
I just wanted to call that to see if I could trigger you.
Yeah, no, you don't know your stuff. That's the chicken walker.
I was literally just trying to trick you. I was trying to be accurate.
No, you need to be accurate. Let's start that. You gotta be accurate. You suck.
which I had modified off of 592.
Okay.
I clicked create, or I did a copy document. And then as I opened it, it said sharing with the same group who had access to
The double fist and the Dr. Peppers also next to the Marlboros.
Yeah, never getting one of those medals.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Show Viewers. This is episode 594. I'm your host, Chicky Mick, alongside with me, the man, the myth, the legend. It's Alex.
And the man who has finally conquered a Resident Evil game, or at least DLC, on professional on New Game, not New Game Plus.
He brings the awesome. It's I Yield to No One.
What's going on?
And he keeps the fire burning on all the enders. It's Matt G.
T-minus 1 week till vacation.
So, hey, Tricky is using my intro, right? The keeps the fire burning, keeps the fires burning. That's, you are going with that, right, Tricky?
I haven't come to an official one yet, but that's the one I'm going with right now.
You done 2 in a row. It's a trend. Well, maybe next week, if you do it again, it'll be a trend.
Next week, I might be too tired to do it. Oh, no. It's the week after that.
Wait, is your landlord still working on the backyard?
Well, yes, but no. I was thinking it's going to be the show after X Life when I did the 25 hours, so it's going to... That show I'm always, like, really tired doing.
Well, yeah, because you haven't gotten much sleep that weekend, or at least the day before. Are we trying to figure out do something together for a stream?
From what I understand, what's in the works is me and V are trying to coordinate the schedule where the whole week leading up to Extra Life, there's people streaming, which is why I reached out to you to see if you and Ashley wanted to do stuff. I reached out to Yield. Yield said no because he's not a streamer, which
which was silly to ask me.
No, I mean, yeah, it was silly to ask you, but it's like, you could play Rocket League, and
No, because then I'll have somebody. You need to pay attention to the chat.
No, I would have paid attention to the chat.
People are talking to you.
I would have paid attention to the chat for you, but that's fine.
Either way, still no.
Yeah, and then I'll be happy because in a week I'll actually be able to play. No, 2 weeks. Jeez, is it 2 weeks? I don't know. Extra Life Day is the day I get to start Spider-Man 2, which I'm itching to play, but I haven't yet. So, right now the plan is to try to get some guest streamers in there for the whole week, raising some money, but me and V haven't been able to sit down and figure out exactly all the details yet. So, all right. Other than that, gentlemen, how are you? Because I'm really tired.
I'm here.
I mean, I usually don't get a lot of sleep at night. Usually my own fault because I stay up too late. But I mean, last night I got a good night of sleep, so thankful for the 8 hours.
I got a good night's sleep too, but I also woke up early to rearrange my studio. So if anybody's watching on Twitch, you could kind of see like I got my Extra Life setup going. Where I got the green screen behind me, I got the desk turned around, so I'm all set up for Extra Life now. So, but it was a long day. I had a coworker come over, bought a lot of beers for us to drink, and neither one of us drank a beer. So now I have 18 beers in my fridge that I don't know what I'm going to do with.
Drink them.
But I'm not a drinker. And they say you really shouldn't drink alone. That's a sign of an alcoholic.
Like you don't have any vices that you should be keep paying attention to. On cue.
Well, I mean, I put a little beans out there. My whole family's alcoholic, so I'm very conscious about how much I drink. So, that being said, I'm trying something new because the way I set up my camera, if I sit where I normally sit, I'd be like you guys can't, the guys on the podcast can see, but everyone on the YouTube video, I'd be right here, like my face would be here, and that just is not aesthetically pleasing. So I'm trying to do this different where I'm using my TV as the fifth screen on my computer to read the agenda from. So I don't know if this is going to work out. But with that being said, Matt, normally you have your camera on, but I did find a cover image for you. What do you think of the cover image?
I mean, I like it. It's definitely Venom is one of my favorite Marvel characters ever. Said everybody everywhere, but I really do like the design that they gave him in the new game.
All right, so we can take that off now. There's Matt. I just figured we'll start with the show with it. So let's get into our updated trophy count. I am level 895, total trophies of 29,393 with 817 platinums. Alex, what about you, sir?
I am level 495, total trophy count of 9,415, and a platinum count of 161 in 160 games.
Yield?
Let's see, it's that window. Level 502 with a trophy count of 9834 and a platinum count of 176. Holding steady from last week.
Now, Matt, I have to ask this question because I know you got trophies this week. Matt, what are your trophies?
Well, considering that, you've been bugging me forever to get my plaque and profile available, and it's not even updated this week to account for the new trophies I got, but I'm level 218 with 1,279 trophies. So I went up by a whole 6 trophies this week.
No, you're saying that, and I forgot to refresh him, so I'm refreshing him now.
Bravo. So professional, Tricky.
I was getting ready to say, boy, nothing like we haven't done this before or anything.
All right, to be fair, okay, let's be real here. I can update them on PSN profiles, but for some reason, XSplit doesn't update them as it goes, even though it's pulling from the webpage. So, bite me, okay? Matt, why don't you tell everybody what you play and what you got your trophies in?
I mean, we're not telling everybody Sid's trophy count.
Sid is level 876, total trophies of 25,835 with 816 platinums. He's actually playing the same exact game as you are, so that's why I was thinking that. But I'm sorry. Listen, I'm out of it today, okay? Leave me alone.
No,
I'm simply keeping you on track. There's no judgment in my voice.
Dark Knight's in the chat, and Murdered 615 is in the chat, and Dan Tucker, who's here lurking. Thank you guys for watching. Matt, what have you been playing, sir?
So I've done a little bit more VR, played a little more Population 1, got some victories out of it. Finally actually met another adult in VR. This is a very unique scenario. Then I also stayed up for the midnight launch of both Super Mario Wonder and Spider-Man 2. So I've put some time into Spider-Man, this is how mixed up I am. Put some time into Super Mario Wonder, which is a really, really, really fun game. Great 2D platformer. And then I've put a whole bunch of time into Spider-Man 2. Probably a good 6 or 7 hours this weekend. And I am having an absolute blast with it.
Without spoiling it, because obviously I got to wait to play it, and people are still going through it now. Is the moniker that this is the best superhero game of all time, is that even remotely close to being true?
I mean, it'd be hard for me to judge because I don't know what other superhero games they're really holding over it. I mean, yeah, there's the Batman games, but I also consider Deadpool a great superhero game. And I gave up on the Batman games halfway through the first one, so I can't really speak to how good they are or are not. I know they took a tumble over the last years, both with Arkham Knight and Gotham Knights really weren't the highest quality, right, Yield? High quality games.
yeah, high quality games.
High quality games.
Well, you got Gotham Knights you can play now. For free.
Yeah, I'm not going to be doing that. The thing I will say is they introduce a new tool for you to use in the game in Spider-Man 2, and it involves going through rings. And for anybody familiar with gaming history, there's a certain superhero game that has you flying through rings.
Superman
and this
64.
runs circles around it.
Well, I mean, you can say what it is because it's anybody that watched any kind of trailer or kind of thing, they know what it is. But yeah, I just want to point out before we move on to what the other guys are playing is did you see that IGN is getting roasted for their Spider-Man 2 review?
No.
Both IGN and GameSpot are getting. I mean, GameSpot has traditionally scored things lower than most other places, so they can catch a little more heat. But yeah, it's just a score. Who cares?
Well, what I heard they're mostly getting roasted for is because they rated the first Spider-Man game a 9 out of 10, and which
is good.
In their review for this one, they said this game is better in every way, shape, or form, but they scored it an 8.
Was part of the contention that they didn't like as many side quests? Like that was part of the thing that held the game back, is all the side quests and it just being.
From what I heard, they were saying there was not enough side quests, and one reviewer I saw said it has too much water.
Not enough side quests. There is no such thing. It's fine. Not enough side quests. I don't care.
The game is based in New York, and New York is an island. So
it covers Queens, Brooklyn, and Manhattan. All three are surrounded by water.
See,
but there's too much water.
The too much water comment is a callback to IGN's review. Sorry, go ahead, Alex.
IGN's Wind Waker review?
No, to their Omega Ruby and Omega Sapphire review for Pokemon, where they gave the game a 7.5 when a lot of people agreed that Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire were some of the best Pokemon games ever. And in that review, they famously put too much water. So whenever somebody quotes something sarcastically for a rating of a game, they'll say too much water to call back to that review. But it's to what you were saying. it's just a number, and it's a subjective number at that. A lot of these places rate stuff, and if it's a different reviewer than the first game, maybe that reviewer reviewing Spider-Man 2 would have rated Spider-Man 1 a
7.
A 7.
Right.
And therefore they said it's an 8. So in their mind, it's better.
No, just whenever I hear somebody say too much water, Yield and Alice, you may get this reference. I think back to the time that Frawls got roasted on the Blue Show when he said he's reviewing the game and said too much water. That's what I think of when somebody says too much water, but I guess that's where Frawls got it from.
For anyone worried about the Spider-Man scores, it's a 91 and considered a must-play on Metacritic. So
yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. All right. So Yield, what have you been playing, sir?
I have not been playing Spider-Man 2.
Well, I know that.
And to tell you the truth, it's not on my to-buy list.
Did you didn't even play the first one?
I haven't, but I own it, and I also own Miles Morales because I want to play both of those. But the trailers for the second one just haven't done it for me. I'm not saying I won't buy it, and I'm saying I won't play, or I'm not saying I won't play it eventually. It's just not high on my I want to play it list like the first two games were.
I think once you play those two games, you'd be like, yeah, I got to get this.
Probably, but like I said, this is what I say when trailers and ads can hurt or make a game, and everything that I saw leading up to the launch of this game, which I mean I didn't see a ton. I just what was on State of Play and stuff like that. I was just like, yeah, not impressed. It doesn't look like anything greater than what you did in the first game. Anyway, I've been playing, got back into some Deep Rock Galactic. Within 105 levels of having that game platinumed. So.
That sounds like a lot of levels, though.
It does, but so I've got my Scout 25 levels away from being gold. So he's at level 1, 3 silver. I just upgraded my gunner to the same. My engineer, I have to go through his promotion levels to get him to level 1, 3-star silver. And my driller is, I think, a 22, level 22, 2-star silver. So that character will be very close. And then I'm going to get all 3 to level 1, 3-star silver, and then do the final push to get all of them to gold. And then that game will be platinum in 100%. I've been playing some Power Wash Simulator. Played some Borderlands 3 today. Did some Rocket League. Did some Haunted Hollows. Knocked that out. Did some Shredder's Revenge at my brother's yesterday. Did some Mario Kart 8 at his house as well. We fired up NBA 2K23 just because you could play 4 people. And we're like, all right, let's give this a try. And that game sucks. Mainly because when you play with 4 people, they don't have different colors underneath the player. Everybody had a red circle, so nobody knew who the hell they were.
Fair enough.
Apparently, NBA 2K doesn't know how to do multiplayer, or at least couch co-op multiplayer. I think that's it. That's pretty much all I've been playing this week.
All right, Alex?
Well, like Yield, I got into the heart of spooky season with the Haunted Hallows and Rocket League. Probably the best Haunted Hallows. I mean, it's subjective. One of my favorite movies, if not my favorite movie, The Nightmare Before Christmas. That's the crossover this year. And they have some fantastic rewards. The goal score with Jack Skellington holding some Christmas lights is really awesome. Like I was telling the group, I really wished for an Oogie Boogie to kind of come out of the goal when you score a goal and like roll some dice and have them hit the field. I thought that would have been really cool. But the one we got's really cool. Quite a few free rewards as they usually do, but also a lot of it is paid. They put a lot of stuff behind a paywall, which kind of sucks, but also I was willing to pay for it because one, I already had a stash of credits and I only had to pay $10 more. But Um, there's so many good rewards in it, both free and paid for, that I don't really feel bad about giving them money for this. Because there's just a ton of stuff to this. So really enjoyed the Haunted Hallows, got all the rewards. Now it's just kind of playing over and over again to get some of the golden pumpkins and the XP rewards and stuff like that. But probably my favorite Haunted Hallows of all time, simply because of the crossover, because I love Night Before Christmas. The other game I've been playing, I went back and played the DLC for Resident Evil 4, The Separate Ways. I'm sure, if you listened to last week, you heard my rant about it. I will say one really good thing about Resident Evil games, or at least I first experienced it in Resident Evil 5, and then it's, crossed over here into 4 as well. They have perfected New Game Plus. It's the Resident Evil New Game Plus is like perfect. So the games, usually you play a game over and over, you kind of get like Miles Morales. I played Miles Morales second time, twice for the Platinum Trophy. Second time I played through it, I got really bored because I've done all this stuff before. But with Resident Evil, the game gets more fun the more you play it, because obviously you get better weapons and you can just, the struggles go away. So you struggle through the first time and then you build up your rage and then you can unleash it as you get more and more powerful weapons. So that is one positive I will say about Resident Evil, is that they perfected New Game Plus and the games get more fun to play the more time you play them, which is a very rare thing in video games. Usually you do things over and over again, it gets kind of boring, but not with this series. So my other small gripe is that the person who voiced Ada Wong, really flat performance. Just like at times, like, did you care about this at all? Were you just here for the paycheck? I was not impressed by the voice work by the person who did Ada Wong. So, but overall, I had fun with the DLC. I still have my gripes with Resident Evil overall, and it looks like we're careening towards Resident Evil 5 remastered. And I will tell you, or like a remake or something like that, I had a lot of fun with that game back in the day. I know it's not a favorite of the Resident Evil fans, but it was the first game I ever played in the series, and I had a ton of fun with it. So if that comes out as a remake or something, I might play it again. But again, if we have all these bullshit trophies like, hey, run through the game in under this amount of time, but do a knife-only run or something, I may not do it. I don't know. And we'll just have to see. But I did have a ton of fun with Resident Evil 5 back in the day, and quite a bit of fun with 4, but I still have my issues with the combat system. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I've been playing. And I don't know, Alan Wake's coming out in about a week, or 5 days actually. Comes out later this week. I don't really know what's gonna hold me over until then. Maybe more Rocket League. I thought about starting Assassin's Creed Syndicate because it doesn't have any multiplayer nonsense in it, but I don't know. We'll have to see.
All right, and I've been playing some Division, trying to get on the season, trying to do the incursion, and I've really been wrapped up with Assassin's Creed Mirage, to the point where I actually had a day off yesterday, and weird, I have the day off tomorrow, which is weird because I have my first 3-day weekend in probably a year, probably more, and I was supposed to be cleaning around my house, so my coworker could come over today and rearrange my studio. And I was playing Mirage all day. It's like one of those things like, sit down, all right, I'll play for an hour, and the next thing I know, it's like 6 hours later. So I'm really enjoying my time at Mirage. Combat system has gotten a lot better. I've gotten a lot used to it, so that's good. And that's it. That's all I've been playing. So before we get into our topics, gentlemen, I was approached with a semi-bet, and I want to know what your thought process is on this. So, as you guys know, I'm sitting at 817 platinums, and somebody said that I should unlock my 1000th platinum on Trophy Horse 1000. So we're talking 406 episodes from now. And
you're not gonna wait. You're not gonna wait that long.
Well, here's the kicker. He says that if I don't reach 1,000 platinums, he'll donate $200 a year to my extra life until we hit episode 1,000. So, to you guys, obviously you guys know how I feel about raising money for the kids, but should I slow down my platinum progress for the next 4 years?
If it's for the right thing to do is yes, because in the end, trophies don't really mean a whole lot. Yes, you can. the PlayStation Stars program, you can earn yourself money, but if you can guarantee more money for the kids, I think that's the better thing to do, the right thing to do, I would suppose. But it is your free time and it is your account, so I mean, you get to decide what you do with that. I mean, honestly, all you would have to do is just not play a bunch of. I would think for you it'd be more rewarding to make more money for the kids and just get platinums in games that you sit down and actually have to put some effort into, as opposed to some like race with Daryl or Sid or whoever to try to get as many spam games knocked out as you can. Like, I've never seen the reward in that, but obviously we game differently, so that's fine. It doesn't mean you're wrong. It doesn't mean I'm wrong, but get more money for the kids, and you just sit and play games that you enjoy and can, actually get some platinums with effort to them. I don't see a bad thing there.
No, but it's all right. I'll get Yields and Matt's opinion.
Really tricky. Answer me this: Who are you really competing against for platinum trophies? Like, who are you really racing? I think we've all established that Daryl's not playing as much these days. He's got a lot more going on in his life. He's doing more things outside of the home. So really, who are you racing? Who are you trying to show you're superior to? Because, Yield and I are never going to catch you. No, damn sure Matt's not going to catch you. I could die tomorrow and Matt wouldn't catch me.
I have a PlayStation 5 sitting offline right now that none of you know.
No, I think Matt's actually going to pop his first platinum in Spider-Man 2. I think he's...
No, because I'm going to beat the game, and then that's going to be it.
You're not going to go back and get all the collectibles.
I might go back and get collectibles, but I'm not aiming to get trophies and whatnot. I'm not going to be looking up a guide going, all right, what do I need to get this one? I will play the game until I'm satisfied with the game.
All right, Yield, what's your opinion?
I don't have an opinion.
See, my thing is that take the spammy games out of it. You're talking that I'm not going to get 100 and... what is it, 83 platinums in 4 years? And how many platinums do we average a year? Like, how many platinums do you unlock this year, Alex?
27, and that's including me getting stuff like the Twisted Metal PS1 games, which took like a day each, and then also, Guardians of the Galaxy, which I did most of the work last year and just popped the platinum trophy on New Year's Day this year. So there were some shorter games in there. Now I did play, DLC like Separate Ways, and Dead Space took me about 3 weeks, and Resident Evil 4 I didn't platinum trophy, but I played that game for about a month, so that's a month without a platinum trophy. So, but I have played quite a few shorter games this year from the PlayStation era, War of the Monsters. So, I would say, I'm at 27 now. If I get to 30, that's pretty good. 27 is pretty good, but I would say on average, we get 20 to 25 a year. Actually, I got 14 last year, in all of last year. So my numbers are generally lower than you all. So on average, I would say 20 is probably a good
Yield,
number.
how many of you unlocked this year?
Hold on, counting. I've gotten 15 so far.
All right, maybe I'm overthinking this, because I was thinking like 50 a year is not like out of the realm, but it seems like I was overachieving.
For you, it is, yes.
Well, I'm talking outside of spam. Like, outside of spam, 50 a year didn't sound like too many.
I would say it probably is. Especially with how much you play The Division and how much we enjoy playing Rocket League. You'll play some World of Warships. He's also, got the gnomes and the dwarves in the mines. So I would say 50 is a lot for just playing regular games.
The one thing I did mention about this is that he said that if I pop 1,000 before 1,000, everything he's donated to Extra Life, I have to pay him back. So, but
look at it this way: if you don't hit 1,000, you could get his donations, plus you could donate on top of that instead of having to pay him back.
Yeah, I know. Deals like this, I just don't like the way, like, the idea of somebody changing the way I play games.
I get that. Why do you think I don't want to do what the Loot Bros always did, which is like, hey, let somebody else pick my games for me?
Yeah, that's why I don't do that either.
And in reality, like, don't get me wrong, I love when the community does competitions, but I don't really always enjoy being a part of them because it changes the way I play games.
See, and there's good and bad to that, because I both get exactly why you guys don't want to do that. But the good side of that is somebody recommends a game to you to play that you never would have given a shot to, and you turn around and you're like, oh, this is really freaking good, and you never would have played it before.
The risk isn't worth it.
The risk isn't worth it. All right, fair enough. All right, well, I'm gonna ponder. I don't know if I'm gonna do it or not. It sounds like something I would do, but I don't know.
It sounds exactly like something you'd do.
What? Not get platinums for Extra Life donations?
Yeah, to slow your plat count down, so that way you get 1,000 at 1,000.
Yeah, I mean that would be a nice symmetry. I don't know.
And how wait? So you said you could still get 50 a year and reach that by that point?
Well, you figure we got 406 episodes to go. So that means
that means that the show's still around by then.
Well, yeah. I mean, we made a commitment that we're doing 1,000 in Italy with Jeff Hanna. So
no, you made a commitment.
You telling me
don't put we in there.
So you telling me you're not going to Italy with us?
Absolutely not.
Get out of here. Alex, you're going to Italy, right?
It depends on where I am in life and what responsibilities I have.
Matt,
I have no desire to leave the continental unit. Well, I shouldn't say continental because I do want to go to Hawaii. I have no desire to leave outside the confines of North America.
Bro, you and I have the exact same thought process.
And it's not because I don't want to. I would like to see France, and I'd like to see Italy, and I would like to see, England and stuff like that. But with the way the world is today, I can die here as easy as I can die over there. I'll die here.
well, Matt, I was just about to ask you. You weren't around for this proposal. I said, but you wouldn't go to Italy either?
Italy, I might, but there's a lot of stuff that can go wrong between getting here to there. And I'm Italian. It's the call of my motherland. But I have no yield. I'm good where I'm at. It's the same thing I tell people when I don't do outdoor sports. When I was younger, I used to go skiing. Nope, not anymore. Why? Because I don't need to. You don't need to be hurling yourself down a mountain to feel good at life. The most I've done is paintball, and even that desire is waning.
All right, let's get into our topics. All right, so first topic. Before we do this, I want to give a shout out to Matt. Matt stepped up and did the agenda today, and I greatly appreciate that because I was wrapped up. But so thank you, Matt, for doing the agenda.
Yo, this news week sucked.
Tricky, you can't keep getting tangled up in your sex swing. It's leaving us high and dry when we need you.
You know what? Just for that, I'm going to rename the studio the Sex Swing now.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That is an image I didn't need. Fuck you, Alex.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, oh,
God. Excuse me while I go find a drill to bore that the fuck out of my brain.
It's Spider-Man release week, and Tricky's crawling on the walls.
Coming from The Verge, the bad King Kong game has only been in development for a year. This is written by Ash Parrish. Released on October 17th, Skull Island Rise of Kong was instantly mocked for its dated graphics and gameplay. Unfortunately, reports are leaking that it was developed under restrictive circumstances imposed by the publisher Game Mill Entertainment. The report indicates that The Verge spoke with developers at Iguana Bee, who explained that they were only given 1 year to develop the game from scratch with a team of only around 20 developers. Prior games developed by Iguana Bee included Little League World Series 22, which reportedly was also given a 1 year development time. Another one of the developers explained that funding also played a role as financial backing did not come through in time to keep the more talented developers around. Despite the negative commentary, developers expressed they were proud of the work they did despite all of the challenges. I'm going to say I didn't even know this game was in development, nor did it come out. Yield, you have any opinion about this?
no, because I don't really care for King Kong games.
All right, Alex?
Well, I do like me some Rampage back in the arcade and on the NES. I mean, why are you gonna? If you're not gonna fully fund a project, why would you even start it? Because I'm assuming this team was getting a funding from a publisher for this. So why leave the product high and dry and the team high and dry so that you put all this money into it, regardless of how much it is, and then it just dies when it comes out? Well, I don't understand that. Make smart investments with your money. Why call for a game and then not fully fund it?
All right, Matt. You obviously brought this to our attention, so tell us what your thoughts are.
It was just funny because the first thing I ever saw about this game was in a deleted clip that appeared on Reddit earlier last week. And I was like, what the hell is this? And then it comes out, and IGN gave it like a 3 out of 10, and other reviewers are just slamming it. So,
but how is the trophy list?
That's the question.
I was gonna say, was it even released on anything besides the PC? But apparently,
I don't know. But the problem is, like, who was thinking we need to make a Kong game at this point in time? Like, Godzilla versus Kong was what, like, over 2 years ago?
But they are still working on the MonsterVerse, so it is relevant.
But like, Monarch comes out in March, I think it is. Like, it's just I think Kong needs a good game, but handing it off and just being like, hey, here, you have a year to do this, and if not, whatever you push out, doesn't do the series any justice. To me, it always comes down to, like, licensing, and if you don't do something with the license, then you lose it, so I feel like that may be something at play here.
I mean, they also probably got the license for Little League World Series as well, so, yeah.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Like, they had a year to make that game, which I look, I'm not going to say that's plausible or not, but I'm pretty sure it's easier to make a Little League World Series baseball game in 1 year than it is to make a King Kong game in a year. Because I'm sure it's a lot more difficult to make a King Kong game.
All right, well, I looked on Wikipedia to see what this came out on. It came out on the 4 and the 5, the Series X and S, the 1, the Switch, and Steam. But under development, it says, Joe DeVito, writer and illustrator of the novel Kong, King of Skull Island, was involved with the development of the game, stating, quote, I could not be more excited to be working with Game Mill Entertainment's talented team that will provide King Kong fans and gamers a chance to experience King Kong's primordial world in a gamified way, end quote. Then it says, following the poor reception of Skull Island, Rise of Kong, a report by The Verge, which we just read, revealed that Game Mill gave Iguanabee 1 year to build the game from scratch beginning in June of 22. Unnamed sources allege that 2 to 20 developers were working on the game at any given time and that the team was required to crunch in order to finish the project. The report also stated that Game Mill gave Iguanabee very few details about the game, forcing the latter to improvise. That's just shitty.
For a game that is critically panned.
I'm not as eloquent as what Alex said, but why even go that route? Like, why not say, like, oh, take your time with the game. Reach out to the license and say, listen, a year is just not enough time to develop this game.
Well, again, this is publishers pushing it on the devs.
And that's the kind of talk, like, if you do only have a year and you don't know if you can get that done, then whoever's holds the license, which I'm assuming is Universal or I actually don't know who holds the King Kong license, but if Game Mill Entertainment, which was the publisher, is trying in negotiations to get this license, you should have that talk at first and say, we probably need this amount of time to develop this game. So, and plus, really, I mean, I don't think that the licensors will, really give them shit for that, because the longer they have the license, well, I guess it's more a matter of I don't know if it's a specific amount of time they pay for the license or just paying for the license up front in general for however long they want. But a better game would bring better returns and bring better attention to the Kong series. So it seemed to, be beneficial for everyone if the project was just fully funded.
All right, moving on to our next topic. Mortal Kombat. Oh, hold on. See, this is why I didn't want to do this. Mortal Kombat 1 player discovered crash logs are eating massive amounts of drive space. This is coming from PC Gamer and written by Andy Chalk. If you're playing Mortal Kombat 1 on Steam and observe chunks of hard drive space going missing after crashes is because MK1 crash logs are really, really big. In the case of Mortal Kombat 1, it appears crash logs are consuming about 1 gigabyte of drive space for each log. If you're playing Mortal Kombat 1 on the PC and having frequent crashes, check your log file in your games directory and look for crashes, as well as crash dumps folders to clear them out, as they are not essential for the game to run. So this is happening on Steam, but Matt, is this happening on consoles as well, did you see?
I don't believe so, and this is just the nature of PC gaming, that when games crash, you get log dumps, and unfortunately, it looks like in this case, NetherRealms is whatever process they have going into it makes it, 1 gig or more for crash logs, which is just insane.
Yeah, that's a little insane. Alex or Yield, do you have anything to say about this?
I agree with. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Yield.
I just say I agree with Matt. 1 gig for a crash log. That's wow.
I'd be very interested to see what goes into that log.
Alex?
I mean, it's good that it's non-essential to run the game, so you can just get rid of these, because as we've talked about, when you've had a console for 2, 3, 4 years, hard drive space gets pretty slim, especially with a lot of people downloading full games onto their console hard drive. So this just kind of, I know it's, was this just PC?
Yes, it's just PC as far as we know.
But still, you only have a finite amount of space on your PC as well, and just shows you the secret ways that your space can be eaten up by a single game. So, it's good there's a workaround. You can just delete them, but it's important that people know these things exist. That, hey, if you're missing a lot of size, as far as file size, free space on your hard drive, you can go do this to free up some. But yeah, it's just, we need a lot of space to play games these days. That's just one of these sneaky ways that, and I'm not saying that NetherRealms has done anything wrong in the situation. Sneaky, maybe not the right word, but just kind of the unknown ways that your file size gets eaten up.
All right, moving on to our next story. Dino Shooter's second extinction is pulled from sale even before making it out of early access. This is coming from PC Gamer and written by Andy Chalk. After 3 years in early access, the Dinosaur Defense game is closing its servers in 2024. Quote, after thoughtful consideration and exploration of our best course of action, we made the difficult decision to end active development of Second Extinction. While Second Extinction is well loved among our players and the game community, it did not achieve the success we'd hoped it would. End quote. The average concurrent player count only got above 200 once after early access in the launch of October 2020. The game has already been pulled from sale, and the developers will announce the actual server shutdown well in advance of it happening. Yeah, 200 players at one time. That's not that much. Matt, we'll go to you.
I played a little bit of it when it was on Game Pass, and it was fun for what it was, but it had no staying power. They were still building on stuff, and this is where I believe early access games that don't have a lot of content need to maybe hold off a little bit more before they go into actual early access, because you need the basic building blocks of the game. And this had decent shooting, it had good enemy variety, but I just didn't feel compelled to launch each time and do whatever. It was kind of like aimless. I had no idea what the end goal was. So it's sad. I watched it when it first came up as a trailer. I was interested, but now it's to the point where I understand that it was useless to try to even get into it. I'm glad I didn't pay for it.
All right. Alex, was this on PlayStation or no? It was just Xbox and PC?
Xbox and PC.
Okay, so Alex and Yield, you probably never even heard of this or even played it.
No, but I do think it's ridiculous when early access lasts for years. I mean, I'm not wrong in thinking that early access, should be, less than 6 months, probably, right? I know that they beta test stuff, and they have people beta test games to stress the servers and see what the servers can take in order to improve the operation of the game. But when your game is not fully released over this amount of time, you kind of have a doomed project, or you've had to put so much money into it and not get any return on it that
Is
Why
it
you
is it fair to say that early access is basically a beta?
Well, I would think early access is like, hey, like what happened with Baldur's Gate. Hey, PC owners get access to Baldur's Gate like a month before the PS5 owners, and then a month later, PS5 owners get to play it. That to me is early access. Like this would be you beta test for 3 years essentially.
The way I've always understood early access was it's the clear definition that the game is still in development. You're paying to be able to play it early, and you're willing to either A, help the developer out by submitting reports, or B, you accept that it is not a fully fleshed out product. And it's unfortunate, like Alex said, that you get games that take that as a way of life instead of pushing you forward to be finishing your product. I would say I would even give them leeway to say a year. But the way early access is now, you're right. It could take up to 3-4 years for the project to be done. Look at Star Citizen. Fucking ridiculous. That game has made, millions upon millions of dollars in early access fees. And we have nothing more to show for it than, a tech demo, essentially. And
Wasn't either PUBG or Fortnite in beta for the longest ass time? And they call that early access as well?
But those, PUBG was a mod. Fortnite was, Epic had an idea of what they wanted Fortnite to be and then saw PUBG and said, screw it, we're just going to do that. And had the backing of Epic. PUBG flew off in popularity because it was actually good. It had content. But then when Fortnite came around and PUBG couldn't keep up with the pace of what Epic was doing, PUBG subsided significantly.
Right. Yield, you have any thoughts on this?
I just think it's sad that you've put this much time into your game, and then you're like, well, we're done.
Yeah, that was gonna be my point. Is like, how much money you put into this game, and you're like, okay, now, because we've heard stories like this with what was it, the NBA live game from EA? Like the game was done, and they just decided not to release it because they knew they were gonna get their asses handed to them by 2K. So, I don't know. That was my thoughts too.
What I don't understand is why people are paying for early access to a game that's not finished.
Well, didn't they do this just recently with the was multiverses, the DC fighting game?
Yeah, where they quit it out ahead of time, saying we're gonna come out with beta or a second portion later on. We discussed that a number of episodes back.
Yeah, because
we said, why would if I had known this is what you were gonna do, why would I even have started in the first place? But Alex, your point, paying for early access when it's not a finished product, that's the entire point of early access, is that you understand you're paying for a product in progress. Now, the question is, how much progress is done by the time you put down your cold hard cash? If there's a base level of a game, it's too early for you to call it early access. You're now essentially crowdfunding. If there's enough there that garners popular opinion, like PUBG, then you at least have that model to go off of.
All right, so I think there's a deeper conversation here in the fact of like early access. So Yield, I'll go to you first. Like one of your favorite games, World of Tanks. If they came out with World of Tanks and said it was early access, would that be something you're interested in, or are you just gonna wait until the full game releases?
I don't know. I didn't really play World of Tanks.
I'm sorry, World of Warships.
You mean World of Warships?
I keep
World of Warships.
Yeah, I keep getting those mixed up. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, I did play it in early access. I played it in the second round of early access just to see if I would like it.
So, but I mean, are you willing to put down money to play it, or
put down money to play early access? No, I'm a tightwad. That is not happening.
Yes, I'm a tightwad. Alex, what about you? Is there any game that you would be willing to put money down for in early access?
No, because look, if you need me to beta test something, I see it as I'm doing you a favor And, I'm hoping you, stress the system, find bugs, stuff like that. I mean, I'm not a professional playtester or anything like that, but I am helping you in some way. Like, oh, hey, report bugs or issues where I find them. But I'm not going to pay to play a game that's not finished. That's why I asked the question earlier. Like, I understand the concept. Why would anyone do that? I don't, and that's just from my own personal perspective. I would never do that myself, so I don't know why anyone else would, especially when a game is not released after 3 years of you paying to play it. Why?
Usually,
it just feels like a waste of. It just feels like a waste of money to me.
Well, and that's the point. Usually, the enticement of paying for early access. Originally, when early access was conceived, it was the concept that you would be paying less for the product than you would be upon launch. They say, hey, buy into our game for early access for $20 because at launch it's going to go up to 30. You get early access, we get to, crowdsource some solutions, see some bugs that we can crush early, and you get the game at a discount. Unfortunately, too many developers have turned it into a crowdfunding effort that is their sole method for funding the game, and that's not the right way.
They're basically doing a Kickstarter without using Kickstarter.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to use that to fund as a revenue stream to fund your project as it goes along to allow people to have early access in your years in development, you got to come out with a project at some point. Like, it has to be a finished product at some point.
All right. Speaking of projects in development, let's go on to our next story. Of Marvel Studios' single-player Iron Man game is being developed in Unreal 5. This is coming from Game Informer and written by Wesley LeBlanc. Motive General Manager Patrick Kloss has shared new details about the Iron Man game in development at their EA-based studio. The game is early in pre-development, but despite that, it's finding many opportunities to explore story, design, and gameplay. The studio created a community council of Marvel and Iron Man fans to help the game's development by offering feedback similar to what it did with the Dead Space remake. Alex, you were kind of vocal about this being developed by Motive?
EA Motive?
Yes. So I'll let you have the floor first.
I mean, why wouldn't I be vocal? They put out the Dead Space remake. They paid proper tribute and honored the Visceral Games classic in many ways, but also added new things that made the game even better. So yeah, I mean, I know EA is the classic villain of the video game, industry, but Motive did go work with Dead Space. So I believe that given something like Iron Man, they could do, something really good with that as well. I'm not saying I'm going to play an Iron Man game, but, honestly, like with my superhero fatigue, if I'm not going to jump on Spider-Man 2, I probably am not going to jump on Iron Man either. But I have, after the Dead Space remake, I have a lot of confidence in EA Motive. And obviously to get the Iron Man project, EA Brass has, a lot of confidence in Motive as well. So I think they can make a good game. What it looks like, I mean, zipping around as Iron Man sounds like it could be a lot of fun. And, you have the blasters and a lot of technology. So, I mean, who knows? It may be even more fun to play as Iron Man than as Spider-Man. Less hand-to-hand melee and more, pew, 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 blasting out of your hand cannons. But yeah, I'm, with Motive behind it, it has the ability to be a very good project. But, whether people want to play it or not, I mean, yeah, Robert Downey Jr. kind of made Iron Man very popular again, and the MCU definitely helped a lot with that. But nowadays, is Iron Man still... Has he lost a little bit, since the end of Endgame? We'll see.
Two other games that EA Motive's made, they've made Star Wars Squadrons and Battlefront 2, which obviously started the controversy with the microtransactions and stuff.
Yeah, but that wasn't Motive's fault. That was likely EA management top of Motive telling them what to do when it comes to the pricing structures.
Yield, your thoughts on an Iron Man game being made?
I just feel we're late to the party on this. I mean, I'll keep an eye on it when we finally get some trailers and more than just, it's in development. But I feel we've missed the boat on the whole superhero.
This should have been done during the MCU.
This should have been done years ago.
Matt?
I mean, maybe they're trying to coincide with the whole reboot that I keep seeing floating around the internet recently, which I think that's just dumb. But
what have you been seeing?
Supposedly they're going to reboot the MCU. They're going to bring back characters that are no longer around and yada yada. And I'm just like, oh, great. So you're out of ideas. Your universe is tanking because the people that everybody's invested in isn't around anymore. And so now we're going to bring it back.
Why?
Well, I mean, there's a finality to Endgame that a lot of people felt, they invested so much time in the MCU, and then you get to Endgame, it's like, we feel like, even if there are more characters, more stories to tell, this is a good end point for us. Now, a lot of people still watch the MCU stuff, but with Disney, it's kind of like the same thing with Star Wars. They do so much Marvel and so much Star Wars that how can you possibly care? How can you watch it all? It's just too much.
Yeah, I haven't even started Loki season 2 yet.
That's the only past Endgame. That's the only thing we've watched is Loki season 1.
You didn't watch WandaVision?
No. Nope. And I watched, aside from Civil War, or not Civil War, but Captain America, Winter Soldier, I watched every other. Well, no, not Thor: The Dark World. I didn't watch that one either. But I watched every single other MCU movie before Endgame.
See, I watched WandaVision. I watched Hawkeye. I watched.
There's She-Hulk. There's Moon Knight. There's just so much stuff.
I watched all of those.
Yeah, there's too much. It's just feels like we get it. Y'all want to make money off of this, but good God, how do you expect me to care so much when you're flinging everything out there?
All right, Matt, your thoughts?
Like Yield said, strike when the iron's hot, because this is far out from where it was. There was an Iron Man game that came out.
The VR Iron Man game, I think.
Well, that was
a different one.
No. So even before that, but that now you remind me, is that came out? Was that on PSVR?
Yes, that was a VR game.
That's where it was kind of relegated. So it didn't really take off, pun intended, from a popularity standpoint. But years ago, I want to say it was on a PS3. They had a Iron Man game that came out to kind of coincide with the movies. I think Iron Man 2. And here's the thing. EA Motive has it. They've communed their council, which seems like a good idea. But hopefully they can take the lessons they learned from Anthem on the flight mechanics there, because that was what everybody says was the best part of Anthem. Make a good storyline. You can always throw Ultron in there because that gives you plenty of robots to destroy using your full arsenal of Iron Man weapons, and throw in a couple different sub-bosses that have you play and aim your weapons a little differently. I think it could be good, but that just depends entirely on if the team executes on what they're trying to do.
According to Wikipedia, there have been actually 3 Iron Man games, one for each movie, and the Iron Man VR. So,
I mean, they did have the Marvel's Avengers game that didn't turn out so hot. Iron Man was part of that.
That game was good. I can't stress enough. That game was actually good.
I mean, they made it good. They made it good. It wasn't that great at launch, right?
No,
it had a lot of promises left on the table at launch.
No, it was always good. The people bitched about Marvel's Avengers was that there was not a lot of end game stuff. That once you finished it, as a game for service, you have your end game has to be strong, and they just never really capitalized on it.
Well, they shouldn't have sold that as an end game. As they just make a story based game and then have it be that.
Well, I agree, but it was a good game. Just there was not a lot to do once you finished it. And if you're trying to make a games for service, that's where your bread and butter is. That's why I'm still around the division, because there's a shit ton of stuff to do at the end of the game. Even though I'm running the same missions again, but there's loot for me to grind for. There's accomplishments I have to do. There's in-game accommodations to get. There's a lot of stuff in there. So
they made it a live service game, which was not what everybody wanted.
Right. I didn't want that, but it was still good. All right. Getting on to what makes me very, very happy. Metal Gear Solid's trophy list has been revealed. This is coming from Game Rant and written by Truman2. Ahead of the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection once launched, the trophies have appeared online. This is the second re-release of these classic Metal Gear games in one collection. The original was the Metal Gear Solid HD collection. This means the original Metal Gear Solid is getting its own set of unique trophies, though it's at its lowest count of the entire collection at 19 total. And the list was posted by PowerPYX. I'm very excited about this because this is literally the only Metal Gear game that did not have a trophy list. It seems like it's a fairly straightforward platinum. 14 of the 19 trophies are just for playing the game. But there seem to be 2 trophies that people are going to struggle with. It depends on the difficulty of it. And that's getting the Big Boss or the Snake rating. And I think, if I remember correctly, going back years, I think you had to beat the game without actually killing anybody to get those. And under a certain time. So that's going to be a struggle. But I'm very happy Metal Gear Solid is getting their own trophy list. Alex will not be getting it because, he doesn't like Metal Gear.
I tried my hand at Metal Gear Solid 2 and Metal Gear Solid 3, and I was not a fan.
You played the first one as well.
I did. I actually got further in that game than the others. And actually, the only thing that stopped me from playing that game further was the fact that the disc, when I had to do the disc swap, it didn't work. So.
And I never got my disc back.
I mean, I'm sure I asked you if you wanted them back.
Nah, I don't remember. It don't matter. But yeah, so that's where we're at with that.
I do understand Tricky's excitement about this because this year I've earned trophies in the original Twisted Metal and Twisted Metal 2, as well as Twisted Metal Black and War of the Monsters. So I've gone back to some classics like PlayStation games that I played without trophies and was able to gain trophies for them, including some platinum trophies, 2 platinum trophies. So I mean that's exciting. The prospect of not only preserving video game history but putting up games on the PlayStation Network that you can add trophies to that they never had before. I mean, personally, I would like to see what? Sorry, it's a lot of noise in the background. What the hell?
Who's editing this week?
Matt. I can very clearly hear that. What? Oh my God. Sorry, Matt. But yeah, the fact that you can go back and play classic games you played growing up, and that you now have added trophies, and that's just an extra incentive for those of us that enjoy trophies. But it's cool to relive history and get rewarded for that as well.
Yield.
Good for you.
All right, Matt. I thought you were gonna go more Yield.
No, because I've kind of I played Metal Gear Solid, thoroughly enjoyed it, because I disagree with everybody that is on the Metal Gear Solid train because I'm an OG Metal Gear person. So
NES days.
I'm NES days. So I am OG Metal Gear, and all you people who lose your mind saying that Metal Gear Solid is OG, you're retarded.
No.
Dumb.
Whatever.
But after Metal Gear 2, I lost interest in the series. I mean, I bought the series because I have a strong feeling for it. I like it, but I haven't picked up a Metal Gear game since Metal Gear 2. And I got tired of Kojima 45-minute cutscenes.
Yeah, that's a little rough.
So it's awesome for those who love the game that you're getting a trophy list, but I could care less.
So you have no interest in playing Solid at all?
No, none.
Wow.
No. See, that's how bad 45-minute cutscenes did me in.
But they're good cutscenes.
Like I know that, but if I want to watch that kind of if I want to play an interactive movie, I will probably go get a PC and play games that way. It was too long at that time, and he continued to do that, and I just was like, no, It's not. I just didn't want to do it.
I will say that when you are playing a game and you get particularly long cutscenes, like a lot of times you want to get back to playing the game. You don't want to sit there and just forever and watch cutscenes. Perfect example was the South Park Stick of Truth. Towards the end of that game, when like they do some big reveals, like right before the final boss, you can't skip the cutscenes. And it got to the point where it was kind of dragging on and on. Nowhere near as long as the Metal Gear Solid ones, but it got to the point where I was like, can I just please stop watching this? I mean, I like the South Park humor. I like story, but at the same time, it's like I wanted to get back and finish the game. I didn't want to sit here and the game tell me, no, you can't skip this cutscene. Like, I get it's important story details, but you can surely do that in a quicker amount of time. You don't have to sit here and hold me hostage for, who knows how long.
All right. Matt, your thoughts?
I am of two minds on the subject. Love me some Metal Gear 1, but I also played the game to death. I earned all the extra items. Obviously, since I don't care about trophies, it's not like I'm going to be going back to play that. Metal Gear 2, I liked, enjoyed, but I really never had a desire to go back through and play it again. And Metal Gear Solid 3, I actually never played, but I hear it's a great game.
Yeah,
no,
I've heard the same thing. My brother says I need to play it.
Is this the package they're doing where it's the remake, or are they doing their own remake of it?
I'm sorry, I was typing the text. What was your question? I'm sorry.
Is this the package where they're introducing the remake of Metal Gear Solid 3, or are they doing that separately?
That's separate.
All right, then I might as well just go pick that up if I wanted to play it, the best version of it.
Yeah, this is Solid 1, 2, and 3, the original NES games, and I think it had the PSP games. I'm not sure on that.
Yeah, I tried some of the PSP games, and I was like, yeah, it's not the Metal Gear experience I was looking for. So the end result is I'm just trying to figure out, is this a game I'd want to pay full price for, or maybe I'll just wait for it on sale at some point.
All right. I think that's all. I think we addressed everybody on that. At this time, we're going to throw it to our listener questions.
Time to check my social media,
Matt, just look at your text message real quick, if you could. First question. Thomas says, with Mario Wonder or Zelda clearly going to win Game of the Year, what would you choose? What would you quote? What would finish a close third? I guess he's assuming those are going to go 1 and 2. Dan Tucker replied by saying Spider-Man 2, but I will throw it to everybody else. Yield first, your Game of the Year. I know that you don't play games of this year, but what would you think would win Game of the Year?
I haven't played anything this year to dictate a Game of the Year.
All right, Alex?
Well, having not played most of the games in the conversation, or really any of the games in the conversation, I would have to go just purely by critic scores and the overwhelmingly positive reviews for Baldur's Gate 3. That's kind of what I got to go with. I've said it multiple times. Like, I think there's a real good chance that game is the game that beats Zelda for Game of the Year. But again, Zelda's a very popular pick, and whenever it comes out, especially with this maybe being called the greatest Zelda game of all time by some people, not by me.
It's not a Zelda game.
But, I still think that having reviewed better than Zelda, that Baldur's Gate 3 would have to be the game that I think would win.
All right, Matt?
This is such a weird year because you have games that you would never think would be on it, such as Baldur's Gate, against heavy hitters such as Mario Wonder and Zelda. And, I wish Armored Core would get its time in the sun. It's not. But I think for the close third, you're looking at Spider-Man 2 or Baldur's Gate 3 as the contenders this year.
I'm trying to look up to see when the nominees are going to be announced for the Game Awards.
Mid-November.
Mid-November?
Yeah.
All right. I haven't played it yet, but I have to assume that Spider-Man 2 is probably going to be in that conversation. So that is going to be my answer. The next question is coming from Gareth. Says, for those in or following the rarity update, who is going to win the title? I don't even know who's in the lead right now because I know it flip-flopped. George is...
it's still
Mark Frazier.
Yeah, because he's been at the top now for a few months. He bested George, Misi Coates a lot, and he's been holding it now for months. I think he just had the best week too. He got 80-something points for this most recent one. So, I mean, even though a lot of us seem to have run out of steam in the competition, he's still putting up points. So, my bet would be Mark Frazier, because this deep into the year, who's really going to play what to kind of topple each other?
Well, I'm looking at the post that Gareth posted in the Trophy Looting group. Mark Frazier has an 67-point lead over George right now, which is not that many points.
It's not, but you got to remember both these guys are earning points every week usually. So,
yep.
And if anyone has any tricks up their sleeve, then they probably have played those cards by now.
All right. Yo, did you give an answer? I'm sorry.
I'm saying that it's probably coming down, like Alex said, it's coming down between Mark and George, and that's who will more than likely win it.
Who's in third place right now?
Rick.
Is it Rick?
Yes, I'm looking at it right now.
Okay.
But I think he's more than 100 back. He's triple digits back.
Rick has a total of 3,524, and George has 3,809, and Mark has 3,876. So
Rick's at least 300 back.
Yeah, roughly, yeah. 300 from the lead, yes.
So, I mean, he's not out of it, but I would say, like Alex and I said, it's Mark and George.
And as you've seen, the scores have dipped where 80 is the front runner, whereas some people previously at the beginning of the year were getting 200, 300, 400 a week. So the scores have died down. Gareth got 18 points this week. I had negative 18 because I the ultra rare increase that I got, the boost that I got from Weird West going to PlayStation Plus game is now coming back down to earth because a lot of those ultra rares are now not ultra rare anymore. So,
well, and the same thing with Spider-Man. Everybody's playing Spider-Man, so here in a couple of weeks, as more people play it, everybody's points will
that's the same
come
thing.
Back down.
That's the problem I'm having with Assassin's Creed Mirage right now. I gained 6 points this week, but that's probably going to come down until I get the rarer ones. Matt, are you following the competition at all?
Love you, Gareth, but no. I know I don't have enough time in the day to track all that. I'm glad you do.
All right. The second part to Garrett's question is, will Tricky overtake Dupes before the end?
No.
I want to say that, but considering that they're relatively close, and now that this has been thrown out there, Tricky will make it his mission to spam the holy hell these next 2 months to, if anything, just pass Dupes so he can go, I did it.
Just reading from Garrett's posts, Mark Duplex and Michael Miller both had relatively quiet weeks. Dupes moved 9 up to 1,108 and set start Spider-Man 2. And Tricky has 6 points, with his rares coming from Assassin's Creed Mirage. Tricky now has 1,038, and a nice battle in between the two is developing. So
you're not quite 100 back.
70 trophies exactly back.
70 trophies.
Or 70 points. 70 points. Sorry, 70 points.
See, as much as I would love to say no, so that way we could rub it in at the end of the year, I think he'll do it.
And Alex, do you think I'll take Dupes?
You play a lot of Division, so I think really, I'm trying to think of what you might play at the end of this year. You're not going to play Spider-Man until all the trophies are pretty much common or uncommon, because by the time you play it, yeah, I mean, plenty of people will, or the trophy hunters will already beaten it, and it's not going to have great percentages. So you're not going to get a lot of points from Spider-Man, and then you played the Division pretty regularly. So,
But
I don't know much coming out that you would play that would earn you a lot of points.
Well, I got Spider-Man upcoming. I'm finishing up Mirage. I might, which I don't really know if I will, but I might play the 4 version of it, which will add some more trophies to it. And then I got all the Metal Gear games to play, and that's 3-4 games of trophies. And I don't know if the NES games got trophies. I don't think they did.
Well, then it's epic fail.
But that's the thing, Tricky, is it's not how many trophies you earn in games, because we talked about earlier in the year, Kalai got the platinum trophy in Ghost of Tsushima, but Kalai really didn't get any points for it because that game has been mined for trophies to where they're all pretty much common.
I'm betting, which I don't know if it is a safe bet or not, but I'm betting that people like Yield, are not gonna go back and play this because the games aren't enhanced in any way. They're just selling a collection, and they've already come out with this collection. So I'm betting not a lot of people will actually buy this game and play it to completion. So if I was able to complete them, my thought would that be a nice set of points right there.
But it's the thing; it's not going with the general populace. It's going with the PlayStation, the PS, the trophy hunters, the PSN profiles folks. And I can already tell you right now, I'm looking at it. The PS5 version of Mirage, the Platinum Trophy is already uncommon. And yeah, you'll get some uncommon trophies in there, but most of the trophies are above 50% as far as rarity goes. Okay. So you're not going to mine a bunch of points from that game.
What about the 4 version? Look at the 4 version.
Platinum Trophy is uncommon, and again, most of the trophies it looks like are above 50, and and a lot of them are hovering around 47. So yeah,
all right.
The trophies is gonna be. I mean, that's the thing, is you're gonna be playing games and earning trophies. Yes, I have no doubt about that. But the games you're earning trophies in are probably gonna have easy platinums, and the PSN profiles community is gonna eat them all up. So I don't think you're gonna earn a ton more points. Not that you're not gonna play games, but you're not gonna earn a ton more points from those. So because of that and your time investment in the division, I'll say it's gonna be hard for you to overtake dupes. Not that you couldn't do it, but based on what you're going to play, I don't think you will be able to.
I mean, I got a few tricks up my sleeve, but I don't know if it's gonna be enough.
Well, you are tricky.
I am. All right. Getting back to our topics, we have 2 topics of the week. Matt, this is probably going to affect you, and Yield, this is probably going to affect you if you ever do get it. This is coming from Try Hard Guides and written by George Aguilar. Some players are reporting their systems are getting stuck at 36% when trying to install Spider-Man 2. Some players are reporting having to wait hours, while others are reporting errors. Deleting the game, clearing caches, and reinstalling hasn't helped the problem. It is unknown if this is a disc printed issue or something else entirely. Insomniac has acknowledged and is looking for a root cause and possibly a fix. Just spitballing here, but if the game can't get installed, no patch can be applied. Therefore,
that's not true.
Really?
Yeah, once you put the disc in, it'll start telling you if there's downloads or not. I've had games updated before it was ever installed and copied.
I take that back then.
So, if it's, and I'm not a programmer, so I could be 100% wrong. If it's a programming issue, then I think they could patch it. If it's a disc issue, they'd have to pull them all off the shelves and do new discs.
Well, yes.
Am I right in that hypothesis?
I believe that's it, but maybe they could just turn this into, once you put the disc in, it gives you the digital download.
If it's really bad, if I'm wrong about you can't update a game before it's installed, they'd have to do something like that.
All right. Alex, this sucks.
Yeah. I mean, especially all, yet another negative aspect. I've been watching these videos on YouTube about the death of physical media and all this stuff, and this is another. Not that this is an issue with physical media. It's very clearly a very specific case of just Spider-Man 2, but it's not a great look for physical media. And really, I mean, it's Sony's fault. Like, how is this your biggest release of the year and this shit happens? How?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm like. I'm like, how did that slip through the cracks?
Well, I'm not.
Maybe it's on purpose. They're like, yeah, discs aren't that reliable, folks. Go to digital.
I'm not defending Sony here, but this may not be a Sony thing. This may be whoever prints out the discs had a problem.
Well, if it ends up being a disc issue, yes. But if it's not, and it's a patch, where they got to patch it, then how did that fall through the cracks? How did that get through, not just Insomniac, but how did it get through Sony?
All right, Matt, your thoughts?
There's any number of things that could be wrong. Could be the firmware version on a PS5. It could be a batch of discs that went out that weren't good. There are ways to patch systems to try to process a read and install in a different way. They might be able to push it out via firmware. The reports that I saw and the threads on Reddit that I saw, it didn't matter. A person can go back and get a different disc and it wouldn't work. But again, I don't know anecdotally how successful it is that you go back to the same place that you got the game and you get another disc from that possible initial shipment.
Right.
Maybe you return it and then you go somewhere else, get a different disc. It sucks for those who've been waiting so long. And I took the day off to play the game. How much would it suck if suddenly everything I tried wasn't working to play the one game I was waiting for this year?
I mean, if you're a publisher as big as Sony, why wouldn't you own the company that presses the discs? Why wouldn't you own the method of pressing your first party discs?
It's probably cheaper to outsource it.
I get that.
I mean, there's your answer. If you're asking why would Sony do this, it's probably cheaper to outsource it.
I mean, yes, that does make sense. I mean, this doesn't happen all the time. Obviously, this is a very rare case of this happening, but I don't know.
Again, I'm not defending Sony, but this sounds like to me, if it's installing issues, then it sounds to me like whoever's printing up the disc, whether it's Sony or a third party, it sounds like to me they just screwed up the disc. Because I've seen multiple playing it. Now, I can't tell you everybody that I've seen playing it have the disc or they did digital download. Matt, did you get a physical or digital?
I got physical. And it took a long time to install. I think I put it in at like 7:30 that morning, and it wasn't done until after 8.
Is this, if it's like, hey, you can get a refund for this game not working, and then you have the chance, instead of just, going to get another disc, to put the disc in the console to have the same thing happen. If you read all the reports, hey, getting a new disc doesn't help. And if you can go back and get a refund from the retailer, and then do you just, even if you like physical media, do you just go ahead and download the game so you can play it? Digitally download it.
I mean, easy answer for me is yes.
Yeah, that's what people were suggesting, because there were no reports of the digital download having these issues. And in one image on the Reddit thread, somebody reached out to Insomniac support and they said, hey, you need to go to Sony support. We don't manage the install process.
I guess, I mean, maybe Yield, my question was more to Yield, who's more staunch in his support of the physical games. Yield, if there's a game that you've been looking forward to for a year, or more, and it comes out and the disc doesn't work, and that going to get another disc doesn't help, is there a game that you would want to play bad enough where you would just say, well, screw it, I'll just buy the digital version? If you get your money back for the physical copy you bought.
I don't know. I mean, possibly. Depends on how badly I really wanted to play it day one.
But you don't buy a lot of games day one, right?
It depends on what it is. I may buy it day one, but I may not play it day one.
Yeah, like Survivor.
Well, to be fair, I mean, I will bring up the point that, I mean, Yield himself said he's a tightwad, but he has spent money on games that he hasn't even played yet. I mean, he hasn't even. We're about to get Hot Wheels Unleashed 2, and he hasn't even played Hot Wheels Unleashed. Although I think that was a Christmas gift from his wife. But still,
it was.
Yield has bought a lot of games that he hasn't even played.
All right, you're starting to sound like Daryl, whose game's still in the plastic. All right.
It depends on the game.
All right, moving on. We got more Spider-Man 2 news. This is coming from the PlayStation blog and written by Gillen McAllister. Spider-Man 2 now out worldwide. The PlayStation blog sat down with the game's senior creative director, Brian Intiller, to discuss the game's opening act. The first boss was one the team wanted to include early on in development, and knowing the PlayStation 5's capabilities allowed the team to implement their plan successfully. The team worked on that mission for a long time and is proud of their work, using the tech to make the first boss look incredible. The team wanted this event to have lingering effects on New York, and it shows throughout the rest of the game's events. Brian also spoke about the inclusion of one Miles' friend Haley, who is a talented artist and communicates with Miles and their friend Genki using ASL, American Sign Language. Anybody doesn't know that. The team was excited to create a quest using this character and didn't initially go into the game development thinking of making this mission, but eventually the team said, hey, let's figure out how to make this happen. And as the game director, Brian said, it is his job to empower the team when they have great ideas to help the game better. On accessibility, Brian said that the biggest advancement in gaming for the past 10 years is the game developer's job to find more ways for more players to play, and he's proud of the work the team put into making Spider-Man 2 now accessible. Now, I think I know what they're talking about, so I'm going to preface this by saying this might be a spoiler for the game if this is what I'm about to say is accurate. And I don't even know if, Matt, you've gotten to this part, so if I'm about to spoil something for you, I'm sorry. He's taking his headphones off. I believe... You can put it back on, Matt. I believe there's a scene where they're talking to the friend, and they make all sound go away to make you feel like you're also deaf as well. I'm signaling to Matt to put his headphones back on, but he's not hearing me. I believe that's what they're talking about. So.
Yeah.
Matt,
You're about to make me come to Staten Island. Tricky.
No. I'm just saying. I saw that on a PlayStation blog post or a PlayStation post. I don't know if that's entirely what I'm saying because I kind of like scroll past it as quick as possible. But I heard that's what they did, and if they did that, I think that's pretty cool. Did you hear what I said, Matt? Or?
Nope.
Okay. So Matt can't comment, but Alex and Yield.
He said,
"I will find you where you live."
I mean, traveling here would probably be easier than fighting the traffic in New York to get to Tricky. So
agreed.
Okay. So with that being said, Alex and Yield, obviously you just heard what I said. Try to navigate this conversation without spoiling it for Matt.
You know what? Just give me a thumbs up when you're ready again.
All right. Matt's got his headphones off. Yield, I'll go to you first. What do you think about doing something like that in the game? And is that too much, or is that just like saying, hey, that's a pretty cool thing that they tried to do?
I think it's a pretty cool thing they tried to do.
All right, Alex?
Yeah, I honestly think that, and I don't know anyone like this, but there might be people out there that don't understand why accessibility in games is so important. You know, people take for granted their ability to just sit down and play a video game without any hindrance, but kind of any small way you can highlight why, you know, the struggles of a certain part of the populace, you know, people who may not be able to hear, or, you know, people that just struggle with anything. If you can make that more widely understood, even through a small means, I think that's a good thing. And again, we've kind of praised Sony for their push towards accessibility more and more, and allowing more people to play. And it's not just, I mean, sure, you open up the doors for more people to spend money, but also you would hope that it is for the good cause of bringing more people back. and just letting anyone who wants to play. Just kind of like opening the community and not putting walls up just because someone can't hold a traditional controller or play a game in the traditional way.
All right, I just realized something, and I feel really bad. It doesn't matter that Matt took off his headphone because he's editing this week. He's going to hear this anyway.
I mean, Yield and I didn't spoil anything.
I know. I'm going to give him a thumbs up. Matt,
Yeah.
it may not matter that you took your headphones off because you're editing this week.
Well, I'm just going to skip over all of this section. Whatever happened, happened.
I think you actually got past the point that I'm talking about anyway.
Matt, we just talked about how the Great Pumpkin's not real. Okay, it's okay.
What?
Fuck. Well, now you upset Yield.
You know what,
I thought Yield knew this. He's seen Charlie Brown the Great Pumpkin too many times to not know this.
All right, Matt, what I'm going to do is after we're done podcasting, I'm going to make a phone call to Trosk because Trosk is basically beating the game already. And I'm going to ask...
No, it doesn't matter because when I'm listening to the podcast and I get to the point where we start talking, I know when I take my headset off, I'm just skipping over that entire part. And whatever happens in the podcast between when I took my headphones off till now is what happens. Good luck, everybody.
So basically take your headphones off from an hour 20 to an hour 40, hour 30.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you talking about? We haven't hit an hour 30 yet.
Okay, hour 29. I was rounding up.
I got it. I see my checkpoints.
I was gonna say I'll call Trosk because I think you actually got past the point I'm talking about already.
It's not even worth. Don't worry about it.
And I was gonna say if I really did spoil something, I will edit this week.
It's not a big story spoiler.
It's not.
It's not story at all.
It's fine. Listen, we're spending more time on this than we need.
All right, moving on. So Matt, from what you read or what you heard of me talk about the article, what are your thoughts on all this accessibility stuff?
Listen, we've said it for the longest time when Xbox came out with their adaptive controller, with Sony's Access controller coming out, letting more players play the game, letting more people feel represented in the game makes it more attractive to players who might not normally go through it. And I think just from what I've played so far, Brian has done a stellar job at directing this team in making an amazing game, pun not intended. It's, adapting the Spider-Man story to a new era. As a Spider-Man fan, you can
I thought you were
going to
stop there and say as a Spider-Man.
As a Spider-Man.
As a Spider-Man.
That'll be my next nickname. From what I've played, and you go around and say, all right, well, we know the movies, but the movies aren't the comics. The comics are the comics. So therefore, the game is the game, and the things that they're changing, the things that they're doing, are unique to the game. And taking that into perspective, I am having a blast playing the game. I'm enjoying the story. The only actual complaint I have about the game are some of the ancillary character animations look kind of off. For all the technology that they tout, they put a lot of effort into the main characters and the main cast. But some of the NPCs just kind of look off. Like Starfield levels off, where it's like, wow, they didn't put a lot of effort into that animation.
Are we talking Uncanny Valley off?
I don't think it's that bad. It's just a little like, okay, let me go do that thing you're asking me just so I can get away from you.
All right. Now, Matt, I'm going to ask you a question. It's not a spoiler, I promise. But do you know who Venom is yet?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask you because I have an idea, but I'm not going to ask you on the show because I'm not going to spoil for anybody else. But I have an idea who Venom is.
Okay.
Because this is not spoiled. They already said Venom is not Eddie Brock in this game, so.
That is correct.
So, all right. That being said, we got through the show pretty quickly. I expected like another 2-hour show, but we're only hitting an hour and a half. And I think it's time we close out the show. So, Yield, start us off with a shout out, sir.
Shout out for Matt for recording and doing show notes. Shout out to V for doing all the social media things that she does and all the behind the scenes stuff. Shout out to Tricky and Alex shout out to Tricky for recording tonight. Shout out to Alex for not only recording tonight, but Rocket League on Thursdays. Shout out to Nitro and for Rocket League on, well, pretty much the whole week. Rocket League on Wednesday and Thursday, and Deep Rock Galactic on Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. We did a lot. Shout out to Prepare Dire Scum for some Tuesday, Friday Deep Rock. Or no, Monday, Tuesday, Friday. He was there all week too. Shout out to the Brain 76 for some Rocket League on Wednesday. Shout out to Gareth for not only the awesome trophy competition that he is running, and it sounds like he's doing round 2 for next year, but hanging out with us for some Rocket League on Thursday. Shout out to everybody in the Twitch party who was hanging out listening to us as we were live. And as always, shout out to all the pimps and mouths of the whoredom for hanging out on social medias and being the cool people that you are.
Alex, your shout outs?
Give a shout out to our wonderful community here on episode 594. You all, the fuel to our fire, you keep us burning, and you push us forward. Again, I've said it again and again, the Trophy Horse would not have made it this far without our community that we have built, that we are very proud of. So thank you all, if you're listening, for being a part of our community and continuing to support us. I give a shout out to Tricky, Yield, and Matt for recording tonight. And I give a shout out to Mike Flanagan, who I think this is, if you don't know who he is, he's the guy that did Haunting of Hill House, or Bly Manor. He did Midnight Mass. He did The Midnight Club. His new thing on Netflix, I think this is actually his last thing for Netflix. The last TV series is the Fall of the House Usher, and it's just very good. So if you haven't seen that yet, it is incredibly good. And Mark Hamill is the Usher family lawyer. So nice little thing in there. Nice to see Mark again in a different role that we typically see him in. But it is good. And yeah, if you haven't watched it, it's a good thing for you to watch here in this week leading up to Halloween. And last but not least, I want to give a shout out to my movie watching buddy, TV watching buddy, Ashley. I love you, hon. Yeah, that is going to be the end of my shout outs.
I feel like I'm about to get an FU, but Matt, your shout outs.
Not sure why you.
Because I tried to spoil Spider-Man for you.
Oh,
Well, you sure as hell spoiled it for me and Yield.
It's not like either one of you guys were gonna play it, so shut up.
I don't even know why.
Well, I didn't. I said I might play it eventually, but yeah, thanks, man.
But I didn't really spoil anything, okay?
You always say that this isn't really a spoiler, and it doesn't
All right,
matter. It's still
without
a
going
spoiler.
into detail, did I really spoil anything?
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention.
You know, guys, this isn't a spoiler, but Soylent Green is people.
The sky is green.
Oh dear. Shout out to my wife V. Thanks for posting the community question today. Shout out to Tricky, Alex, Yield. Thank you. Another good show. Glad I was able to make it short with my notes. Thank you, and shout out to the Channel 3 community, especially today, giving it to Redbeard Rick for his weekly Mega Drive Genesis challenge and the attempting to get the high score on Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. Start on level 1 easiest, get to the highest score you can. But also shout out to the Channel 3 community who can find a competition in anything, because Super Mario Brothers Wonder had one level where you have to race a Wiggler, and now the entire community is trying to get the course done in the fastest time possible. You all are psychos. Anyways.
Is it a pissed off Wiggler? Because Wiggler's not that fast.
Tell you what, he's on Mario's heels the entire race, so
well, that's that classic Mario Kart rubber banding right there. You have to expect that from Nintendo. As long as he's not shooting blue shells at you, then...
Agreed. Shout out to the community, and thank you, everyone, for listening. Have a good day.
All right, so Matt, yeah, you're gonna want to skip over that part. I just confirmed it with Ross. It's not
Like I
as,
said,
it's
whatever
not
happens.
it's not as bad as I think it is, but you know what? If you don't want anything spoiled, yeah, skip over that part. Everybody did their shout outs, right? Yes. Shout out to Sweet Mama D, shout out to the goddess, shout out to all the listeners, thank you very much. Shout out to Tross, who just confirmed that I probably just ruined Matt's night.
Didn't ruin my night. I'm skipping over that part in that.
He took off his headphones right in time. Yeah, shout out to everybody. And if there's nothing else, until next week, happy trophy hunting.
See ya.
Later.
This is the way.
The theme song is Venus by the band Even off their album Zenith. Permission granted by the band and 12 Stone Records. You can find them on Facebook by going to www.facebook.com/evenphilippines.